Well, good morning, everyone. This is our first live stream from the new studio. We are still getting things a little set up, a little ready. Um, but we want to reassure everyone that we are back. We're going to be coming to you live next week. We're working on our lineups. We've got a lot of stuff going on in the fabric space. But really wanted to make sure that we kept in touch with you guys, that we were not gone forever. Um, we are going to be coming back. We're going to be talking about all sorts of new things when it comes to working with Microsoft Fabric, real time intelligence, Fabric databases, you kind of name it. We're going to be diving deep into it. One of the things we really want to hit on as we move forward is like practical examples and like demos and walkthroughs of solving challenges that you have today, right? So, uh, as we run into challenges and issues, or as you have questions, I want you to hit me up on social media. Let me know what things you want us to tackle. So it's not just us talking about features and functionality; it's actually taking on big challenges. Hey, Devon, good to see you from Dallas. Nice to see people joining in. I know this is last minute. We don't have the whole crew here. We're still working on getting that stuff set up, but um, really want to be doing more to help and connect with you guys. So, Devon, if you've got questions, if you've got challenges, post those in the chat or shoot us a message on social media. You can find me on LinkedIn, on X. Well, that's pretty much it, and YouTube. Um, happy to have you guys here and see people. We are going to be talking about all of those things. One of the challenges, though, or one of the things that I did want to, when we got up today and started talking, was wanted to really hit on and talk about solving problems with the tools and resources you have today. So Fabric is awesome. The reason why we're working with we're talking about Fabric all the time is because the more we work in this space, the more we do in this area, we realize that like, hey, there's just more need for more tools and more capabilities uh, for everyone, right? In order to solve these challenges and problems that you have, you need to have all sorts of capabilities and additional tools that if you don't have them, these problems become much harder. But that's not to say that you can't take on challenges where you're at while you're making the case for Fabric, right? Like I know it's an expense, right? Like even at its lowest cost, I mean, you're still talking, $200 a month if you're not going to turn it on or off. You can get by with less. Like watch our previous live streams. Kevin showed us how we can get by with a $50 Fabric capacity each month and have like full on DevOps, full on data warehousing capabilities, like the whole nine. You can have a completely and totally modern stack in Fabric for $50 a month, right? You just schedule it to come on at midnight, do your processing, load your semantic models into memory, and you're off to the races. So um, you can totally do that. But if you're not in that position where you have all those components yet, like you can still totally use Power BI as the world's number one business intelligence tool to solve a lot of challenges and needs as you're making that case for that additional spend, right? It becomes very easy to do that. And honestly, that's one of the things that we really want you to focus in on is solving the situations and problems that you have with the oh my, I went black on the back. Interesting. Right. What it's helping you solve the challenges and problems that you have with the tools that you have, right? Like so if you're just using Power BI and all you have is SharePoint, you know what? While that's not great, while that's not something we want to do a lot of, it's something that can totally work for you. You could totally make that function and become a real legitimate thing. Now, we don't want a ton of that stuff, but you could still do it, and there's still like a great path forward with Power BI and the entire M365 platform. You could build out standards where you've load all your information into a Fabric database. Then you can still use like, I mean, how long has SQL Server been around? Like 30 years or something like that. There's 30 years of texts of best practices, processes. People with those skills of working with SQL Server can now directly work in Microsoft Fabric and can do everything right there. So you don't have to get stymied by, oh crap, I don't have a full environment where I can't do everything. But you can get into an environment where like you can do a ton of this stuff, right? So oh, where did we go here? I'm gonna even get into my desktop here, and I'm actually gonna show you some of the stuff that you can do when it comes to like keeping a really simple architecture in place. And we're gonna be doing this as simply as we can, because frankly, you know, the stuff does not have to be as complex as we necessarily want it. So I'm gonna share my screen here. Let's see here. Ba, 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 ba. You know, because we said, hey, we're going to do it live. So here we go. Okay. So now you can see this. Oh, wait a minute. There we are. So here's our blank canvas. We're going to be working inside of PowerPoint. We're just going to be doing some basic stuff here. Um, uh, let's talk about how we can set this stuff up. Okay. So if we're going to be talking about, come on now. We're going to have all sorts of source systems, right? Right. You're going to have source systems where your data is going to come from. And I don't know if that's SQL Server, it could be SharePoint, it could just be emails that you get sent in. Oh, excuse me. um, that source system information, you can bring that in, right? And you can bring that into your, if we're going to say Fabric, that'd be great, right? So Fabric's awesome. Hey, great. We bring it into Fabric. And then we bring it over to Power BI, right? And we could totally make this work as a legitimate. Uh, this is a totally legitimate architecture where, like, okay, your data flows in from your source systems into Fabric and into Power BI. But what about the situation where I said before, like, hey, you know what? You don't have Fabric in the case. That's totally fine too. Let's talk about what does this Power BI environment look like so that you can kind of address that gap where you don't have that Fabric instance, but maybe someday you want to. Okay, so let's say you're not in a situation where you have Fabric today. You all you have is Power BI. So Power BI has to do everything and anything and everything for you, right? That's not uncommon. You could totally get that in place. So let's talk about how you're going to structure these things and how you're going to set that up. Okay. I'm going to use my icons file. You can find this out on kratosbi.com, where you can go in and see how to set these components together. What we're going to be doing here is we're going to be segmenting things by workspaces. Okay. Now, because remember, the difference between Power BI and Fabric is what that workspace is licensed by. So inside of this space, while we have this set up, what we're going to do is I'm actually going to let's align the text to the top, and let's stick in a new box. It's going to be that color, but we're going to make that one a little lighter, not transparent. Here we go. Okay. So, and we're going to actually zoom in on this Power BI stuff so we can actually see this stuff quite big. Okay. So, Power BI is your be all end all. How are you going to set this stuff up? Well, we want to prepare and know that at some point in time, you might have a Fabric environment and you might have a Power BI environment. So, we're going to get you ready for that. Okay. That means you're going to have your data environment. Data. Oh, come on now. Why you gotta do me like that? Shape format, text fill, align text top. So you're gonna have your data workspace. and you're going to have your report workspace. Okay? This is going to set you up so that when that day comes, or if that day ever comes where you're going to have Fabric, you just kind of like swap this from Power BI over to Fabric and you're good to go. But what does that mean in the in the now, right? What does that mean for you now? Well, that means that your semantic models or your data sets. Oh gosh, that's the old data set icon. I gotta update my report here. Maybe do I have it up here? I really need to update this stuff. All right. Well, I'm going to be updating my PowerPoint for you guys here, but let's talk about what this is going to look like. Okay. So we're going to use the old data set icon here, even though it's old and out of date. Your semantic models, i.e., your data sets, your semantic models is going to sit over here. It's going to be inside your report workspace as well as all of your Power BI reports. Okay. And I think there is a report work icon. Yes, there is. Copy. All right. So your data sets, i.e., your semantic models and your reports are going to stay inside your reporting workspace. Okay. That's all good. That's fantastic. But what you're going to do here is you're going to start to use data flows. Okay. So these are completely supported by Power BI, right? These data flows are going to be running and loading into a workspace. I used to say load these into a data mart. Unfortunately, Power BI is discontinuing the use of data marts in favor of Fabric. I mean, Fabrics here brings a ton of new features, functionality, makes it really hard to support like this data mart thing that is kind of like was moving along the direction that Fabric ended up going into. Okay. Now, I'm actually going to pull this one back. While you might use this in the future with Fabric, I'm actually going to say segment your data sets out so you've got your data flows and your semantic models inside of one workspace. The reason for this, and this is actually kind of cool, is that when you update a data flow that's in the same workspace as the semantic model, you'll get like an auto sync here. You should schedule it and whatnot because there's the control is not as great, but you could still have cross workspace reports, and these are Power BI reports and paginated reports, all living in that same workspace, that same alternate workspace. Okay. And the reason you want those all in one place, you guys can only see. Oh, you can't even see the other thing I was showing you. Ha, that's okay. Um, I was focusing on the main thing that we want to have. So we've got our data flows and our semantic models in one workspace. It's all in Power BI. We've got our report workspace. It's all Power BI reports and paginated reports. What you're going to do is when that day comes along where you're like, hey, oh, hey, good morning, Belinda. Good to see you there. Uh, we're going to be back. We're going to have lots of people on this stuff. It's nice to be here and get up and going and stuff. When the day comes and you're like, okay, hey, this is great, and but you're missing out on all sorts of lake houses and all the other good stuff here, that's when we're going to actually evolve this away from having just like a classical workspace and going towards a Fabric workspace. So this is how that transformation is going to happen. Okay, so when we go down and we look, what's going to happen is this is going to become Power BI. And this is going to be your Fabric. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Right. Send to back. Right. This data workspace no longer. Let's get this adjusted. There we go. Now my data workspace, I can directly swap that over to like a Fabric license without having to worry about like, oh, I didn't do whatever, I've got to move anything or I've got to remap things, any of that stuff. all of that can start to change. So, right. So you can actually now keep the exact same semantic model. You can keep the data flows that you have that are loading that semantic model. But then you can start to incorporate all of the new capabilities that we have inside of Fabric. So you could start to insert in your data warehouse, right? So we could have a data warehouse that starts to oh geez, come on now. Grab my data warehouse. It's right there. Right? We can have our data warehouse that's now starting to feed our semantic model. And we could even use a lake house, right? So we could stick in a lake house in here too. So we can have this guy that's feeding in, right? You can now start to add in all of these advanced capabilities without having to necessarily right away refactor or eliminate your data flows, right? You can keep that running. That can keep going to your semantic model. You can augment with your data warehouse. You can augment with your fabric experience. You can augment all of these by adding in some advanced orchestration with data pipelines, right? Oh, come on now. Don't be like that. Right? So you can now actually start to be very tactical in when you run different pieces of your architecture, right? Like some of you, like you're like, hey, you know what? Honestly, Power BI works great for what I need. I don't need anything more than this. I'm just doing my loads from some Excel files and I'm all up and running. That's great. Awesome. Hey, God bless, Godspeed, continue forward. Right. But there's going to become a day where you're like, you know what? I need to have an order of operations. I want to first grab the file, I want to load it, and I want to do something to it, right? Like maybe you want to validate that there's actually data in the file because you got a couple of times where the automation that gave you the file churned out blank files and then your reports went blank, right? Like that sucks. Nobody likes that, right? Um, Now you start to say, well, in the classic world in Power BI, I don't really have a great mechanism to stop that, right? When my data flow runs, it's going to go grab the data that's in the source, it's going to load it into the model, and I'm done. Well, that causes lots of problems, right? Data pipelines and data factory would allow you to like grab that data, check to see if there's any data in that file. And if there's no data in that file, just like don't load it. Don't archive it. Stick it someplace else. Trigger the a refresh. Pull the file again. Um, you can actually then make changes to your processes based upon your actual business needs because like like we said, we don't want our situation or our solution to be any more complex than we need it to be. Um, Now, I'm going to contend that for a lot of you, you're going to be well. Hey, good morning, Chewy. Good to see you. Uh, and it's good to see everybody today. Let's not forget, it's good to see SML in the house. Nice to see you all. Um, And clearly, if you're on this live stream, you like and subscribe. So I don't even have to tell you guys that because there was no announcement of this going on. We just went live. Let us know. Oh, hey, Stina. Boy, we got a whole bunch of people. Good to see you guys here. I can't tell you how much I missed you guys. This has been a lot of work for the last like 6 weeks. It's been nonstop moving, and our house is still quite a shambles, but we are getting back in the saddle, and so things will be good again very very soon. So good to see you guys. Um, okay. But yeah, we want you to understand, or I want you to understand, and I think yes, Belinda, ask Chewy, right? Like ask Andy Leonard. Hey, Andy, good to see you there. Uh, we don't want to have any solutions that are more complex than they need to be, right? All of our stuff, this stuff is complex, right? Uh, you know, these things will grow more complex over time. So we want to oh, I love you guys too. It's good to see you guys. um uh we wanted to we want to keep our solutions as simple as we possibly can for as long as we can, right? So you'll see on this live stream and in many videos, people will talk about the medallion architecture. The medallion architecture is awesome, right? It truly is awesome. Frankly, it's been a technique we've been using for like 3 or 4 decades of maybe a little less than that, but that technique of like land raw data, process your data, and then have your present data. That concept has been around for a very, very long time. The only thing that really prevented us from doing like lots of landing raw data was the cost of disk was really expensive at one point in time. So only like really companies who had like lots of money to spend on disk would do that process because you just couldn't afford to do that, right? Now that disk and now that storage is so much less expensive, it's become easy for like everyone to follow that. But you don't have to, right? And you can greatly simplify your processes if you take just baby steps along the path, adding in this functionality as you go, as you move forward, right? Because if you're someone in finance and you're just sitting there saying, "Hey, I've got all these processes, and my team spends," or not, maybe you don't even have a team, maybe it's just you, and you're realizing that you're spending like 6+ hours a day copying and pasting and moving stuff around, and you're like, there has got to be a better way. We've got to find a path forward without all this stuff. Well, that's when these additional capabilities start to make sense. And so that's when you start to look at like, hey, you know what? Um, uh, yep. Good to see you, Kevin. We were not working the other day when I was IMing with Kevin. Um, so it's Spectrum came out and Spectrum took care of this stuff right now. So, yes, it's 3.03. We are back up and running. Good to see you, Donald and Apart. um, Good to see you guys all here. It's nice to have you. But we don't want these things to become like overly complex or any more complex than they absolutely need to be, right? These things, if we can just keep it with a simple storage layer where you take your data, you load it into your storage, and then you present it, fantastic. I mean, the God's honest truth, that simple structure has like managed hundreds of companies for, well, in fact, probably thousands of companies for the last 2, 3 decades. So it works really, really, really well. Um, yeah, it is the best day ever. That's right, Tata Barton. And hey, Jack, good to see you too. Yeah, it feels like Friday again. That spot on. Yes, yes, Donald. Keep it simple. Um, because if we can stay in this framework where we've just got our like two little services, hey, that's fantastic. That works, right? Oh no, that should be a little bigger. There we go. Something like that. There you go. There's no reason to make these things more complex than they need to be. Is all I'm saying. Now, with that said, you're saying like Chris, okay, I'm going from this simple environment to uh, I have some more advanced needs. I want to like take this stuff on, but Fabric is too much for me, right? And yes, Andrew, we are back because we don't want Fabric to be too much for you, right? If your need is simply to add in a little orchestration with the storage layer, just do that, right? Just use a Fabric database and some data factory, right? There's no reason you need to be going to a lake house and to a warehouse and to all these different crazy new high-fangled solutions that are really useful in certain situations. But if your situation isn't doesn't call for it, like, don't do it. And where do you want to go to get like help on a situation? Come to us. Come to Kratos BI. Come to this live stream. Let people know if they've got specific questions on how they should be setting up their architecture, because a lot of the times these things come into like it depends on a lot of questions and a lot of issues. What we want to do on this live stream and hopefully is answer those questions. So when people say like, "Hey, how do I take these next steps forward?" I want you to come here, like let people know they can come here, ask those questions, and we'll help you decide. Do you need a full-blown medallion architecture? Is a data warehouse architecture, more, like all data warehouses? Does that make sense? Does a mixture make sense? Does a simple fabric database work for you? What's going to happen here, right? Um, yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, just because a dress fits doesn't mean you should wear it. That is 100% correct. Just because you can do these things doesn't mean you should. Right? Is that your next? Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, you don't have to use all of the components of fabric, right? So, this is one potential thing, but like maybe your solution is just simpler, right? Maybe you just have orchestration, right? Now, I'm going to say you should at least probably have a data layer for where you have storage, where you've got your data flows that are potentially orchestrated by pipelines that go into a warehouse or some sort of storage layer, but you don't have to do each other, right? Um, right. This is exactly right. Have a problem to solve rather than just add technology. 100%, right? And this is the dollar uh this is the dollar live stream where we're going like it's the it depends live stream, right? Um and it depends on a lot of different situations where like interviews are something that is a huge component of how you help figure out what's going to be right for you and right the right solution. I mean, honestly, at work we talk all the time. We talk, okay, first things first, we're going to assess where you're at, right? So we understand where you have problems. Then we're going to build out a proof of concept that like, hey, we think this is going to solve your needs. It's going to be small, it's going to be conformed, it's going to be tight, but we're going to build that out as quickly and as dirtily as we can. I mean, not really dirtily. Is that a word? Dirtily? Dirty? I don't know. Um, we're going to build out something small that works to meet the needs to see, like, hey, is this solving and addressing your challenges? And I mean, most of the time we know it will. So, hey, that's great. Then you get into the like build and run and operate, right? But you've got to go through that like interview phase, that assessment of what's going on inside your work, right? Um, uh, hey, Aaron, how the heck are you? Good to see you, man. Um, because your situation is going to be unique. Maybe this is the architecture that's going to be great for you, or maybe just to keep these things as clean as possible. Maybe instead of needing this, you need to insert a lake house in your process, right? So come on, why you gotta be like that? So you've got data flows, you've got pipelines that are orchestrating it, right? You've got your lake house that like lands raw data, but then you do all of your transformations. Come on now. You do all your transformations inside your warehouse, and then you load it to your semantic model, and then you've got your reports all out there, right? Uh dirtily, yes, dirtily. uh, we don't, you don't know until you get in and talk to the people and about the situation and and the challenges you're having. And I'm gonna be honest. Oh, geez, where did I go? Didn't want that to happen. There we are. I can be honest with you. Like sometimes these solutions, while you want them to be incredibly simple, you've got technical situations where like that sourcing of information like requires a custom application to get built and like you all of a sudden encounter a situation where you need a highly complex environment through no fault of your own, even though you're a small team. But if you're going to automate these things, it's going to be incredibly complex, right? And so then you have to like kind of do some picking and choosing and figure out what expense is worth it, right? Because maybe your small team is 30 people, right? Because I've talked with teams. They're like, we're pretty small. We only have 30 people in our finance team, right? And for some companies, that is incredibly small. Um, and then you're going to want to make certain adjustments and decisions based upon that. All right. But that is one of the big things that I want us to really focus on in the live streams going forward is taking on challenges, showing people how to address these issues, and beyond just like showing it in PowerPoint and showing it like actually get hands-on in code, trying to like focus in on things. So we'll still continue to do like demos and the stuff we've done in the past and show new features and functionalities, but the more we can get to like showcasing and highlighting like how we take on your problems that you're facing, the better that it's going to be. All right, now um we are going to be back next week, so this is going to be a short live stream today. Uh we're going to be back next week, so look for, I think Kevin has a dentist appointment or something, or I don't know if Kevin's going to be back because the schedules are a little up in the air. But we're going to get back, and we'll hopefully Data Bard and others will be joining us. If you're interested in being on the live stream, do hit me up on social media. We will be putting out a schedule, want to like line up people to help take on these challenges and be part of that. So let me know. Would be happy to have you on. Um, but with that, I've got to run. You guys have the best day ever. Peace. Boom. Baker Tilly Digital combines strategic industry insight and advanced technical expertise to uncover and solve your digital transformation challenges. If you're interested in learning more, check out our website at bakertilly.com/digital.